Hi everyone, Duke Danger here. Apologies for the lack of video last week. I was experiencing some of the worst side effects of my painkillers. But now here I am, back, and I can hear all 6 of you applauding. This week I wanted to do what I was going to do last week, and that was Batman Arkham Origins on the Wii U. The version that runs best, I find. And I'm not just talking out my arse here, and I have proof. I also have a copy of it on the Xbox 360, just so that I could do a cross-comparison. Apart from the major freezing issues, which are actually in all versions from what I can gather, although I do not have a PS3 and I have a shit PC, so I cannot vouch for those 2 versions, but from what I've seen online, those do freeze as well. The Xbox version freezes a lot more than the Wii U version. The frame rate drops, I'm not sure what they were on about because I didn't notice any at all, and if there were any, it probably would have been by 1 or 2 frames per second, but no, in comparing the 2, the Wii U version looks better, it plays better, and it runs smoother. So yeah, in terms of Wii U gamepad support, there isn't a whole lot there for Arkham Origins, especially not if I compare it to Arkham City Armored Edition, which was chock full of gamepad features. This one just has a map on the touchpad, which is useful, admittedly. It saves you from having to pause the game to look at where you want to go every 30 seconds. But in truth, not a huge deal, to be honest. When I played the Xbox 360 version, there's not that long of a wait between loading the map and seeing the map. So really all it does is cut out the middleman and leave you open to attack if you happen to be on street level trying to check where you're going. In terms of the game, while nowhere near as good as the heroes of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, it's still a very good game. It is essentially Arkham City, if I'm going to be completely honest. The gadgets are pretty much the same, the animations are pretty much the same, the enemies react in very much the same way. What separates Arkham Origins from Arkham City is the story. The story is absolutely fantastic. It has a really good story. I didn't really notice the change in cast either. In fact, I think I preferred this Joker to the Mark Hamill Joker. I know, sacrilege, suck my cock, I don't care. I think he was better, for one simple reason. He sounded more like a raw nutter than just a playful clown. Of course, there were still the Clown Prince of Crime elements in there, but they were much more evident in Origins, in City than Origins. In Origins, everyone was a bit more raw. I really like Black Mask. He was pretty cool. You have 8 assassins trying to kill you in Origins, so that means there's more villains than in City, which just seem to have the initial main 3 fighting it out for no readily apparent reason. Julian Day plays a somewhat important role in Origins for the first 2 minutes of the game, and then disappears, never to be seen again, which is an unusual thing because I like Calendar Man. He's pretty cool, so I wouldn't mind seeing him in a video game. But I'm guessing this is going to be their last one because this game was so poorly received. But I think it was unfair, to be honest. Yeah, the game's bugged all to hell on most of the consoles, including the Wii U. It's pretty damn buggy, but it wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a bad game at all. Anyway, what the hell was on about? The 8 Assassins, yeah. You got Deathstroke after you, who is probably the greatest boss fight in any of the Arkham games. You've got Shiva, who obviously works for Ra's al Ghul's assassins, but that's never mentioned. You have Deadshot, who's just irritating and the easiest boss in gaming history, which just involves you doing a tightrope takedown again and again and again until he falls down or something. You've got the Penguin in there before his eye thing in Arkham City. He's pretty cool. You can't really say too much about him. A guy called the Electrocutioner, the most disappointing boss fight in history, because you kick him in the face, he falls down, and then someone else kills him. So, you know, not much of a boss fight there. Who else have we got? Copperhead, who was a very annoying boss fight, and Bane. This is the Bane before he made himself all huge and bulky, so he resembles the Bane of Dark Knight Rises much more, but much less irritating and shit. So yeah, I like what they did with Bane in this game. I really, really do. I like what they did with all of them, to be honest. But that's pretty much the only thing that makes it rise above City. City is a better game all round, especially on the Wii U with the extra features. But Origins, the gameplay was a little bit of a disappointment because there was no changes there at all. There was no building up, there was no evolution of the game, but the story is what really made it for me, and it's quite rare that the story of a game makes a game for me. But no, I think it was absolutely fantastic. For some reason, I believe that Arkham City looked better. It could be that Armored Edition was optimised for the Wii U, whereas Arkham Origins, being a multi-platform release, was capped at 360 graphics. So that's possible, but it does look better, primarily because the 360 is only capable of 720p output, upscaling to 1080p, and yes, that is true. Just do a little bit of research, or even check the Xbox Live store. And the Wii U is capable of 1080p, but for that reason it looks a bit better. The lighting effects are far better, but that's about it. In terms of graphics themselves, they're pretty much the same. So Arkham City looks better, it's got a much larger texture pack, just a better game, to be honest. So if you have a Wii U, I'd just get Arkham City Armored Edition and pick up Arkham Origins when it drops in price a little bit. I paid 35 quid for it, which I imagine would be close to $50, and I wouldn't say disappointed. I was at first, very much so. When I first opened up the open world after the tutorial missions, I was very disappointed. But the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it, and the more I realised it wasn't as poorly textured as I thought it was. It's just because everything's covered in snow, with it being Christmas Eve and all. No, it's a good game, worth picking up once it's dropped in price a bit. If you need something to tide you over for the Wii U, get Arkham City Armored Edition, or just a different game. But I definitely would wait for the price to drop. Batman's really cool. He's awesome in this game, actually. He's really cool. He's an absolute arsehole, which is the way he's meant to be. Yeah, the villains are great. The story's just fantastic, to be honest. There's a few bits that don't make sense if you haven't read the comics, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, you can enjoy the experience overall, and a lot of it, I don't think has to make sense. Like the Joker's origin story, which they touch upon, mostly the origin story from the Killing Joke, and various other iterations, actually. But no, that was quite a nice touch. The whole game's just can be summed up with a few nice touches. So yeah, I mean, try it out, make your own decision. It's a difficult one to do because it is so much like Arkham City. If I was gonna buy it again, I'd still get it on the Wii U just because it runs better. But there's a lack of Season Pass for the Wii U, which has got everyone confused. Not that that particularly matters, because a lot of the stuff in the Season Pass was for multiplayer, and of course the Wii U doesn't have it, and I forgot to touch upon that, actually. If you want to get the Wii U version, just get it, because the online multiplayer is wank. It is the worst online multiplayer I've experienced in a long, long time, and I've experienced some pretty shitty online multiplayers. It's not worth touching, to be honest. It takes like half an hour to get a match going. When a match does go, it barely works. You pit it against loads of kids. It's shite. Buggering shite. So, yeah. Online multiplayer not worth touching. Which is good because, as it happens, I don't have an Xbox Live Gold account. But, don't really care. That's it for that one. That was a bit longer and a bit more rambly than I was expecting, to be honest. Apologies for that. Hopefully I'll be off all the painkillers in the next couple months, and I'll start to be a bit more coherent. Yeah, next week I'm going to be doing Deus Ex Human Revolution Directors Cut on the Wii U. So far pretty good, looks pretty much the same. Again, added lighting, higher resolution. Looks pretty good, a few okay touchpad supports. Having the map on the touchpad is a lot better than having it on screen because it's bigger, but I'll touch upon that next week. One thing I did forget to mention, Wii U finally has achievements for all of those achievement holes out there. They are posted automatically to the Miiverse. They're not worth any points, which I think is good because points are a false economy. Yeah, that's it. Next week, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Sorry for missing last week. Duke Danger, out.